Alright guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Tomboy Official. It is in the 80s here in sunny San Diego. Late April. Easter's over. Passover is over. Passover has passed over. And we're coming to an end of the month. I'm gonna be eating this ice cream. It's my last day off for a while. I am having a Haagen-Dazs vanilla milk chocolate almond. I don't know why they label it that. But sitting in the car, chilling. Yeah, so for people who usually tune in because of the gender related topics, I have one that I want to talk about. I haven't presented on anything in a while, but I was actually considering, because my work has a multicultural we do annual multicultural trainings, and this next set for this year is due April 30th of this year. So, I've been kind of burned out at work and didn't really do any multicultural any preparations. But our work is actually giving us a cool opportunity because we need 4 hours of multicultural accounting training. The boss, or one of the directors, I don't know how many directors we have at this point, but one of the people in charge said that we can do, we can present a slideshow by Zoom and give our own presentations about any cultural topic we want, and we could even make it about some personal cultural topic of our own. And we get to count however much of the amount of time it takes to plan. I don't know what that is. However much time it takes to plan the presentation, as well as however much time we're presenting it, and then in addition, the amount of time that we're sitting through the other presentations. I'm just going to be a spectator because it's going to be like 4 hours worth. I think multicultural trainings are my favorite ones. And today, I would like to talk about a topic that I love to talk about, which is gender related. And again, I try to not just make topics on, the negativity. I'm trying hard to not make a podcast about a bunch of negative topics. But A lot of times, when we're talking about stressors and dysphoria and about just personal experiences with anxiety and depression, like, it's hard to really help not talking about the impacts of those. Like, I don't want to be like sugarcoating, like, look at the bright side, or telling people this is how you have to deal with things, because this is how I deal with them. I mean, everyone's individual. Everyone has their time when they're comfortable starting to work on stuff and deal with stuff in the way that they will deal with it, if they get to a point where they are ready. Some people might never be ready, and that's fine. But I also feel like I know myself, and I know sometimes I'm kind of like in a sensitive mode, or just I'm in a sensitive mode where, like, I'm pretty impacted by negativity and people like talking about like their depression or anxiety. Sometimes I need something positive and uplifting. So for me, I do find it kind of hard to find a balance, especially because oftentimes when I'm podcasting, it's kind of more raw emotion, kind of just on the spot, winging it, presenting straight from after I've had some kind of experience or some kind of either some kind of an experience or some kind of something that I've either witnessed or come across, like reading or YouTube or something that kind of like sparks something relatable in me. So a lot of times when I'm processing all of this, it happens while I'm pretty new to the topic. So another thing too about quality of this podcast, like I said, I do minimal to no editing, because that just helps me to post. If I were to wait to post for better quality, it would take me so much longer to post. Mind you, I don't post every day. I'm almost done with this ice cream, guys. Sorry. Oh my gosh, it's cold. I don't post every single day. And I don't feel like I need to, but it is kind of a goal to post almost every day, if not every week. But sometimes I don't have anything to say. It's like, Okay, Gatorade after a milk chocolate ice cream is not maybe the best combo, but I think it's what I need. Well, I didn't really need that ice cream, but I saw it in the store, and I was like, I was gonna get a Cliff Bar, and I was like, or something like that, and I was like, let me just get, I think I'm more dehydrated than hungry, honestly, because I just had dinner. Well, lunch, I don't know what it's considered. I called it a late lunch date. And so, yeah, so we got a person walking by, so let me let them kind of get out the way. But yeah, so what I was saying is, regarding quality of this podcast, I do notice that, it does interfere with the quality to be recording outside, or on the road. I've recorded some episodes driving to and from LA. I've recorded some episodes driving to and from the mountains. I've recorded some episodes at this spot where I'm at now, because like I mentioned, I still live with people. I need to record outside of the house. I don't need to, but it's hard for me to talk about, kind of personal topics in the middle of my house where people can hear through the walls. And it's hard for me to kind of be open to talking about certain stuff. So right now I'm open to certain discussions about certain things. I'm recording not from my usual parking lot. I'm recording from a side street, kind of around the corner from the parking lot, but it's on a busier street because there's shade here, and I needed a shady area to park my car and, record, because it's hot. Like I mentioned, it's like in the 80s, and I don't have AC in my car, and even if I did, I can't keep it just like turned on for like nearly an hour to drain the battery. And so it's on. So I'm just sitting in the car with the windows mostly down, mostly up on one side. The side that's towards the traffic, the window is mostly up, but you could probably hear that bus. So let me see. I'm gonna adjust this. All right, so let's see. Hopefully that helps with the sound level on the driver's side. Because I'm facing traffic on the driver's side. And then on the left side, on the passenger side, there's people walking. They're walking by. So there have been people walking past the car, because it's a street. And I live in the city, guys, so there aren't that many places where I can just go and record and it's gonna be quiet, and I don't have privacy in my own house. I don't live in a house where I feel like I want to be too open with my housemates about gender and sexuality type of stuff. I think I mentioned before, I had a roommate that would always order Amazon in the mail. So the majority of the mail would come to the house was his, and I think he just kind of stopped looking at the mail and opened it and saw that it wasn't his book. So I had ordered this book by Danny Max called Coming Out Happy. It's clearly gay. He's open-minded, so of all the people in the house, I'm actually glad that he opened it first. And there was another time when my mail was kind of opened. There's an old lady that opened my mail. Well, she didn't open it. She said it was at half out and half in the gate, already opened. But it was a container of pills. There were hemp plus pills. You can just buy them off the internet, but they weren't selling them in my local store anymore. And I was like, well, instead of driving all over town, let me just order these off Amazon. So I ordered them on Amazon, and the package was partially opened, and she probably looked in and saw it. And then, but everybody knows that I smoke weed and all that. And then there was another time where I got grocery delivery, and I'm pretty sure she saw me. She picked up the groceries from Sprouts when they had those green bags, green plastic bags, and she brought in the groceries to where my bedroom is and kind of knocked at the door. Another time I was ordering weed delivery, and because that roommate, the one that I think is cool, that I was cool with, he worked for the one of the popular weed delivery places, and so he took my order. Actually, someone else took the order, but because his staff recognized the address, he brought the order home, and then he literally brought it into the house and knocked on my bedroom door and handed it to me, and I just tipped him. But it was kind of funny. But I don't know. I am a little. I mean, those are kind of like a little bit of privacy breaches, but none of them were really too intentional, other than the lady like looking into my grocery bags and stuff. But I'm even too much of a private person for myself to be comfortable with that. But, during Pride Month, during June, I usually have a rainbow flag that I put on my inside my car, and then that kind of stuff. But so let me get on with this topic. Sorry, I kind of stall because sometimes I get a little nervous, actually, even though I'm just talking into a microphone. Sometimes I don't really know where the topics are gonna take me. Dude, this guy's running in those Huarache sandals. That's cool. He's got socks and Huaraches. How do you spell that? That's not how you spell it. Let me see. Well, Huarache. Huarache. Wow, they're really expensive on the internet. Okay, well, the kind he was wearing weren't like the ones on the internet. So maybe it wasn't the same kind. They were the ones with less straps to them. Alright, so a few situations came up. So I'm gonna first talk about an overall situation of a podcast that I listened to that really had a cool segment. So I probably talked about this. There's a podcast called We're Having Gay Sex. And the host is Ashley Gavin. The co-host most of the time is Kate Sisk. And then they have a guest on. So there used to be another co-host before Kate Sisk named Gara. Gara left to do their own, work. And then Kate Sisk was after. So Kate is younger than Ashley. Ashley's like late 30s. Kate is like age... how old is Kate? Kate is like... probably not in their 30s yet. So Kate and Ashley, basically Kate is considered the cancel coach, kind of there to kind of referee and make sure that, Ashley isn't really saying anything culturally insensitive or anything. They talk about their pronouns all the time on every episode. That's part of, after their long introduction, they do an introduction like that, where they say, like Ashley Gavin always says that she's a white, cis, lesbian, And then when Kate usually identifies as and actually uses she, her pronouns. Kate usually identifies as a white, lesbian, bisexual dyke. And pronouns he, they, she. And that's usually how they present. So I want to talk a bit about the segment that, the part where Kate talked about gender related topics, and then also about some experiences I've had related to family over the last weekend. So one was, I'll do them in order. So one was a home situation. One, so that was on like Friday or Thursday. There was another thing that happened on Friday night, and then something else that happened on Saturday. In the day, was it in the daytime? Yeah, Saturday morning. Because I left at 9:30, so it was like before 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. I think I recorded an episode, but I haven't posted it yet. So, Friday, let me talk about this episode. Sorry. So, in this episode of We're Having Gay Sex with Ashley Gavin and Kate Sisk, they each talk about, after they introduce their pronouns and then the guest pronouns, they each go around and they talk about they just talk about a topic. They each get the floor for a certain amount of minutes. And so usually Ashley goes first and talks about they can do either a current gay sex experience. Did you have gay sex this week is usually the first question. And then after that, they can talk about any kind of a topic. And so, just a second. And so somebody was walking past. So one topic they can talk about is called a blast from the past, which is, meaning like a sexual experience that was something that wasn't very immediate or current. Okay, another person passing by. Alright, so something that wasn't current. Another experience, which is something that just happened this week, or it doesn't have to be a sexual experience at all. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't listened to this week's episode of We're Having Gay Sex podcast, then you might want to listen to that and then tune back in if you want to hear it without my explanation first. But Kate Sisk, you gotta be kidding me. Come on. We're just gonna jam to this for now, guys. Lights turning green. Don't worry. Oh gosh. It's one of those tricycle car things, and they have no roof or anything, and they're just cruising around the city. So that music was loud. Anyways, Kate Sisk talked this week about gender dysphoria and maybe 3 instances of when they went to buy suits for different weddings. I think that's mostly what they were talking about, but I know it was experiences of trying on suits. And so the first one was an experience that was multiple years ago, where Kate walked into the men's warehouse saying, you know, what are the suits that are like where the bar mitzvah, something like the size of like bar mitzvah guys, what they would usually purchase. And so, you know, the clerk, or I don't know what you call him, the worker at that store, was trying to maybe potentially be helpful and was asking, you know, do you need assistance? Kept asking. And Kate was like, no. And then I guess eventually Kate had mentioned, you know, the suit is for me. And the person said something along the lines of, lady or woman, you know, this is a men's suit store or something like that. And then, you know, Kate was, you know, hurt by that comment and left and didn't buy anything. And that was the first experience. And okay, there's another pedestrian. But so then the second experience, oh my gosh, there's so many people walking, was when Kate went to I believe it was like a JCPenney. I want to say it was JCPenney. Kate went to JCPenney and saw was carrying like suit, you know, things, and asked one of the, you know, store workers, you know, where's the changing room? And Kate said that it was probably like an older woman that looked at what Kate had holding in their hands, like the suits and everything, gonna try on like multiple outfits, and looked at them and looked at Kate and looked at them, looked at Kate again, and then pointed Kate towards the men's dressing room. Kate goes towards the men's dressing room, and then the men's dressing room person says, that's not the right dressing room. Sends Kate back over to the women's dressing room, and at the women's dressing room, Kate was able to try on the suits and things, and then was getting complimented by some of the workers who were trying to make them feel good about what they were buying. So maybe there were only 2 stories. But those were the stories that Kate shared. And I was like, you know, I did comment on that on YouTube, saying, you know, thank you so much for, you know, sharing those stories. Like, I think people need to hear that. And there was like a short bit of a conversation about how formal attire and weddings and things are so gendered. Like, for example, if we're going to certain places, like if I'm going to a bar, club, or whatever, I mean, you guys know, I don't really go to straight clubs that much, but when I do, I try to make sure there's no dress code. And the one time that I did get turned away, I was wearing shorts and a button-up, short sleeve button-up, and then I happened to have chinos, long chino pants in the car. So when I changed into the chinos and had long pants, the door guy was like, oh, you again, and just like let me in. But what I found kind of funny, because they said at that club, they're like, no shorts. But then it was kind of interesting, because I looked at my friend who was standing right next to me, who's very femme woman, who's clearly wearing shorts, but they were booty shorts. They were like leather booty shorts and really tight. And it wasn't a skirt. And I was just like, well, she's not wearing pants. She's wearing shorts. So it's kind of interesting. It's like, so if you're wearing male type of attire, you can't wear shorts. You have to wear long pants. And if you're wearing female type of attire, as long as it's short, you'll get in the door, even if it's shorts. So that was weird because I was wearing shorts and she was wearing shorts. I identify as female. She identifies as female. I identify as a cisgender female. So does she. But just because my shorts were more mask style, I wasn't allowed to wear those inside. She was allowed to wear her tight leather femme booty shorts. So weird stuff like that. And I do kind of have this kind of anxiety about getting like kicked out. Not kicked out, but not let in. And you know, I don't wear dresses really. So yeah, that's the first segment here. So it's Monday now. Go on, Mini Cooper. So it's Monday now. I took today off as well as last Friday because I thought we were going snowboarding in Mammoth, and so I took the days off. I didn't want to like edit my schedule and be like, let me not have these days off and I'll have next Friday and Monday off, because you know I wanted to spend more time sorry, I'm drinking Gatorade. I'm struggling, guys. This heat is hard for me. I just went out to have this date, a late lunch date, and I ate like half of my enchilada combo. I had some tea and a glass of water, and I was already like, man, I didn't really hydrate or really eat too much today. I had some churros and then I just had an ice cream. So now I'm having Gatorade. I'm like filling up on drunk basically. But I got this cold stuff so that I could try my best to record at least a little bit with the windows not fully down, because I knew it was going to be a little loud. So you know, as I'm sitting here, I might take a hit of a joint. I'm gonna be here a while anyways. And I don't know. I can't tell if I'm like anxious or just overall just like tired. I don't know. I feel like I'm having some kind of an emotional experience, but it's probably mostly exhaustion from the heat. And I did wake up early today, so that's good. Oh, man. Okay, get a little bit of a cross breeze in here. The air is actually nice. It's just sitting in the car is kind of rough. Sorry, guys. Bear with me a little bit. I'm trying to get this right for my date today. Okay, I'm gonna spark one up that's already been had. I feel like my brain's a little not fully there today for you guys. I'm like, shoot, that's a lot of freaking smoke. Jeez, I've got both windows open, which is a bad idea. Okay, let's stop this. Stop this madness. Okay, air out the car for like 5 seconds here. I appreciate you guys putting up with me. If you really do, listen to this stuff. Trust me, I know I'm all over the place. I know that. You don't have to tell me. Okay, so Friday. Actually, Thursday, I think. Thursday. My friend, a close friend of mine, and, two close friends of mine, had their father's memorial, unfortunately, this Friday, sorry. And, so I was up in town, up in LA, for this memorial. I would have been up there anyways because we were going to go snowboarding, and then we decided, I want to go to the memorial. It turned out the memorial was Friday night at 7 p.m. And so, in the interest of my energy levels, the ball was left in my court to decide, when do you want to go? We can always go like a different weekend. So I chose maybe TMI, being on the last half of a period, as well as, wanting like an extra week to work out. What I did was I made the decision to, go to the mountains next weekend, and this weekend we'll do the Memorial Friday, and then I'll have lunch or breakfast with my parents Saturday morning, and then head back because my friend had a birthday Saturday afternoon into the evening. So I went to that taco and beer festival Saturday. So I was like, I'd rather just do that stuff than go to the mountains for like, it was going to be 2.5 days and have to leave at like 6 on a Saturday morning, and then get there like 6 or 7 on a Saturday morning, and then snowboard like maybe half of that day, and then Sunday, and then most of Monday. I think they closed at like 4, so most of Monday. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we would have been doing all that snowboarding, and I was like, dude, I don't know if I want to do like all that. I'd rather go like two days, get there late Friday night, which is what we're doing this Friday. Get there late Friday night, snowboard all Saturday and all Sunday sessions, and then come back and I can still work Monday. So that's kind of what we planned on doing. And so I did that. We planned it that way. And then, so mind you, I said that this memorial, here comes some people walking. But mind you, I said that this memorial was going to be taking place Friday night, last Friday night at 7 p.m. And so I was there Thursday in town, and I think I called my friend that same Thursday saying, hey, I'm driving up tonight. If you need anything, I'll be here. I'll be in town all Thursday night. If you need me to order anything, whatever, just let me know. And so Thursday night I get there. I tell my mom, that I'm going to the memorial, and my mom asked me, the mom question, do you want to borrow a dress? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, I mean, I don't understand how I get so frustrated with things. It's like sometimes I feel like my parents know. They know what's up, they know I'm gay, they know I'm queer, they know, all these other kind of gender-related things regarding me, because they've raised me all this time, and they know that I never gravitated towards femme clothing. The closest thing that I like that's femme, other than the women, is on myself, like things to wear. I would say I like floral print a lot, with button-ups that I wear. Like, I kind of like what you would consider like girly patterns, girly colors, but I like the cut to be like mask, if that makes sense. So I like things that are like fun, things that are like an enjoyable, like pastel or like floral or like bright colors, like really light blue, or I have a shirt that's like black but it's got some orange on it, or like some shirts with some pink, and some shirts with I just wear like colorful stuff. I'm fine with wearing colorful stuff. I've got no issue with this, but one thing that I struggle with is certain events that I have to go to that I know people want me to wear dresses. Usually things like weddings or funerals. I think funerals you can kind of get away with not wearing like a suit. But I think what I'm really going to need to do is get a jacket so that my button-ups are kind of dressed up a little bit more. And maybe get some boots instead of sneakers, because I could dress it up a little bit more. A funny situation, because I thought that I had brought with me a pair of brown jeans and these are kind of more fitted, and a pair of like more fitted like black jeans. But it turns out I only brought with me the brown jeans, and I had these black like cargo shorts, because I just pulled it off. I have this like cloth like hanging shelf, and so I put my clothes folded up there, and so it was just folded, so I just assumed I just saw something black and folded. I kind of forgot all about those shorts, and then when I got to LA, I was like, oh shoot. So I'm glad at least I thought to bring an extra pair of jeans in case I changed my mind, because I was like, I don't really know what I want to wear. And I was like, I know the brown ones are a little bit bigger, and like with my weight shifting so much, I was like, I don't even know what I can really wear, honestly, what's gonna really fit. And so I did that, and then so that was, my mom asking me about wearing a dress. She was like, do you want to borrow one of my dresses? And starts going on and on about the sizes. And I was like, I don't really like dresses. Like I just said, like, it's kind of like, it's almost not disappointing to have to say, but it's like, so, like, I don't know what the word is. I'm just impatient with people, maybe just like annoyed. I mean, it's just annoying to have to be like, don't you know this about me already? Like, because like, even if I look at other previous months, right? So even if I look at, Christmas, for example, my mom got sweats for everybody, and she's like, yeah, I got yours like a certain size or whatever, because she's like, I know that you don't like your clothes too tight. And so I was like, okay, yeah, but it's still kind of interesting, even though when my sister helps her shop or when she shopped for me in the past, when I think of it, I don't think she's ever purchased me anything that was like from a guy's section. I think she just gets me like the most mask thing from the female section. So she doesn't get low crop shirts. If she gets a t-shirt, it's like t-shirt warehouse kind of classic t-shirts. She doesn't ever go shop in the guys section to buy me clothes, now that I'm thinking about it. And she doesn't really buy me clothes that often. And I think there were quite a few years where she gave us like Victoria's Secret gift cards for Christmas. Which I don't know, like, I'm not too against, for myself, wearing femme underwear for the most part. Like, I do wear bras. I prefer sports bras, even though with sports bras I don't really like how the shoulder straps kind of cling to your neck, so that they're always like poking out of your t-shirts. I don't really like that. But then with the other bras, I don't really like how they're always lacy, or they're always like, they kind of like cut into your skin a little bit, like they're a little tight. And I don't find them very supportive. I mean, I'm athletic, I like sports and stuff, but I feel like sports bras are a little like too tight. So I actually have this old sports bra that's like it's got a little ripped, and the elastic is kind of worn out. Because the large ones are too big for me. Like, I don't have like a huge cup size or anything, but like I've gained weight. And usually with sports bras, it's like small, medium, large. Like, they don't really do like the whole cup size or whatever. They just go more like by the waist, by like the bust size around, you know? So I was just like, dude, this is so annoying. But I mean, I'm probably gonna have to start purchasing like specialty underwear. Just like, I know Woxer has a lot of stuff, Tomboy X has a lot of stuff. Like, there's a lot of non-binary, non-gender kind of brands out there that kind of like cater to people like us who might have hips or breasts or waists or, you know, butts and different types of features that, you know, mass clothing stereotypically does not cater to. And so I think that's good to consider. But I don't know, it's just frustrating, guys. It's frustrating, this thing with my mom and all this. But that was Thursday, I think. And then Friday, you know, the day comes and I'm like, well, I have the clothing I brought. I got dressed. I felt like I looked pretty good. I wasn't the only one who wasn't dressed like formally, like, but I also don't have like formal wear. So one thing I might consider is getting something a little more formal fitted. And you know, something that more or less fits my own style, because I don't like to feel underdressed, but I almost feel like I tend to be underdressed because it's hard to find like that balance between like that androgynous look that I go for. I feel like the more I dress it up, I look more masculine. The more I, you know, depending on if it's like more fitted or more like form-fitting type of clothing or whatever colors or cut that I choose, it can become more femme. And so it's kind of just a complicated kind of balance. I do actually enjoy shopping online. That's something that I don't mention much, but there's a lot more comfort in it, especially because you're not like feeling rushed. Like whenever I go into a store to shop, unless it's like a sports store, I feel so rushed, guys. I go in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to get out of here as fast as possible before somebody starts talking to me. Like, it's kind of like interesting when you're not a straight person or when you're not like a cisgender person, you know, the personal information you have to reveal just to be able to you know, do like a basic thing, asking for where the bathroom is, you know, if they're not right next to each other, you know, people might point you in whichever direction. Asking for where the changing room is, fitting rooms, another thing. Asking for where a certain section is where you can find certain things. That might be a gendered situation. It can come up at work where people are asking you stuff. And then sometimes it's like, I can even appreciate where they're like, okay, let's talk about your pronouns, or, you know, if you want to or whatever. And it's kind of interesting how I'm like, I mean, I present the way I present. So everybody who sees me and meets me in person, you know something's up. Especially if you've talked to me and hung out with me for quite a length of time. I don't really if you've talked to me and hung out with me for quite a length of time, you'll notice that I have a lot of things about me. Today I felt pretty good, you know. There's more people walking, but yeah, today I felt pretty good with what I wanted to wear. I think I changed a couple times. I have a pair of jean shorts with buttons, and they're fitted, and I was like, these are a little too tight. So I went back to my classic Waterman's Quicksilver shorts. They're like board shorts, but they're like almost fancier board shorts. And they're kind of that like almost crushed velvet feel. They're my favorite shorts. And like I said, I live in Southern California, so most of my pant type clothes are shorts. So yeah, you guys can tell. I mean, like, it is a little bit the weed now, but you guys can tell like that this stuff tires me out. So yeah, that was Friday. Friday I went to the memorial and felt very sad, you know, about the situation, but also very relieved to see, you know, there's a gay guy that was there. There's a trans friend that was there. The trans friend had some, you know, treatment, growing some facial hair. I cannot tell you how happy I was for this person. Like, I was so delighted and happy. I was like, I don't really want to, like, bring attention to too much stuff right here about this, but also, I didn't want to, like, joke around and, like, but I also didn't want to, like, not talk about things if they want to talk about them, but then I kind of didn't want to, like, just talk about, you know, just, like, bring, like, unloading and whatever, but it was an interesting day, like, or evening, so that's one thing that happened. And then, you know, we talked a tad about clothing, styles, and kind of like genetics and things. So we're kind of like joking a little bit about that. How we were both kind of saying like almost we maybe get our styles from our dads, which is interesting. It's an interesting comment to make. And then we're in a group talking, and one of my friends kind of mentioned under his breath, like, towards me, like, I don't know what team you bat for, kind of thing. And I was kind of like, I was willing to answer and talk about it, but, like, I think he knows, because I tell him I'm going to, like, pride this and pride that and all. Like, I think when you start saying that kind of stuff to people, it's like, how many straight people go to that many prides, you know? It's like, you know, and, like, all that. And so, yeah, I went on this, like, date today, and I made sure to kind of tell him, you know, about that. Not about it, like, but just that I had a date today and I was getting ready for that. And then he was like, cool, you know. But that for me is kind of one of the easier ways to bring things up, is when I'm like, yeah. And then my mom, okay, Saturday again, she brings up that she keeps saying this joke that she's gonna send me and my sister to Zimbabwe to find a man, or have the aunties set us up with a man. And I know she thinks she's joking, and I know she thinks it's funny. And she started this joke around Christmas, saying that she's gonna, you know, send us there to get us married off. I mean, I just find it a little rude and offensive. First off, it's rude that, you know, because my sister isn't single. She's had a boyfriend, I don't even know for how long, but at least before the pandemic. So at least since 2019, if not before then. So she's been dating the same guy. And my mom seems to have some kind of irritation with this. I mean, I guess it's because she says that, you know, my sister maybe doesn't seem happy because she complains about him a lot. But also, it's like, in relationships, there's going to be complaints, you know? And I feel like in relationships there are going to be complaints. But I wouldn't say my sister's not happy. I mean, she's probably just struggling and stressed for sure, but I think if she wasn't happy, she wouldn't keep going with this guy. I think when she becomes unhappy, she'll leave, or he'll leave, or they'll split up, or whatever. I don't see it as, oh, she's settling or whatever. I don't really see it as that. I think they do love each other. I mean, they have a place together. They have a house. I mean, like, you know. So it's kind of, and she's cis straight, you know. So is this dude, as far as I know. And so I find it interesting that, that, you know, that my sister is kind of with somebody, and my mom is already thinking about trying to set her up with somebody else, and then she's trying to think about setting me up with somebody. And it's like, I know that she's joking, because this isn't really realistic. Like, I'm not gonna, like, go to another country and have a bunch of, like, aunties, like, showing me a bunch of guys that are gonna be, like, invited over to, like, dinner or something to try to talk to me and see if I like them or want to date or whatever. And I, you know, even during Christmas, I remember telling my mom, like, okay, like, I do fine for myself. Like, I'm not, like, I don't really need any help, you know? And then my sister was even commenting, like, she was in the bathroom, like, but kind of, like, combing her hair or something, and had the door open, and I was, like, in the living room or kitchen when my mom was joking. And it's, like, you know, a big area, but you can, like, hear if the doors are open. And she was just like, okay, like, it's not funny kind of thing. But she keeps making this joke, so she thinks it's a joke, I guess. But it's just getting obnoxious. Like, her talking about, you know, trying to set up my sister when my sister's already dating someone. And then I clearly don't want, you know, to just marry some random person just because they're from Zimbabwe. I mean, like, to me, it's like, why would I have to find somebody specifically from there? Like, I don't understand kind of the I don't understand, like, the kind of rationale behind that kind of thinking. Like, I am open to diversity. You know, I'm not prejudiced. I have my preferences, but it's not so much racial or ethnic as it is, like, you know, certain cultures, I find them interesting. I'm intrigued by them. I feel a little bit, like, curious, and, like, you know, certain cultures I just would like to know more about them. And yeah, that's just how I feel about certain cultures. I don't think I mean, it's just how I feel about certain cultures. I don't think I need to marry someone who's the same ethnicity as I am, or from the same heritage background as, you know, my family. But I do see my parents kind of pushing that, even though it's like, I was raised in such a diverse environment anyways, that I don't think it would be hard to get along with someone from another culture. And it just kind of depends. Like, my friend, you know, during the you know, service, even on Friday night, he was asking me, because we have a good relationship, and he was asking me would I ever date a Hasidic guy? And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I don't really mind, like, Hasidic guys. I don't really want to do all this stuff. Like, I don't want to do all the, you know, I'm not Hasidic, you know, so I don't, you know, want to do all the traditional stuff. But I mean, like, if a Hasidic guy randomly asked me out, like, I'd go on a date. Like, I don't really see any problem with that. Like, I do, I think some of the first attractions I had that were men, like cis men, were Hasidic guys, like ultra Orthodox and Orthodox Jewish guys, like, just because like, kind of like from kind of guys. Like, I kind of like their traditional mindset. Now, of course, there's going to be good and bad of every single culture. But there was a lot of stuff. I used to I used to have this crush on this cis male Jewish guy named Heshi Fried on From Satire. He had FromSatire.net, and he was From Satire on YouTube. FRUMSATIRE. And I thought he was really funny. It's just kind of interesting because, like, I was raised culturally very knowledgeable about Jewish culture, very even involved somewhat, like, in a practicing traditional way, but not as a Jew, but practicing from a Christian standpoint of Christians that, you know, believe in Jesus, and Jesus was Jewish, so a lot of honor towards the traditions and learning about them and knowing about them and knowing how to do them because Jesus was Jewish. And so instead of being more incorporating of, like, the pagan roots of Christianity, being more so incorporating of the Jewish roots of Christianity that most most of Christianity, mainstream Christianity doesn't really practice, but that at some point in time, in history, Jews and Christians did look very similar in a lot of ways. And so, because a lot of the first, Christians were Jews, and then when Gentiles started becoming Christians, and paganism was kind of, there wasn't really a separation, I guess, of church and state. And at a certain point, paganism, like Christianity became the religion of the Roman culture, and the paganism was kind of mixed in there. The leaders kind of, the king kind of made this happen, and from that point, pretty much everything started to pretty much get changed as far as in Christianity. And so I don't knock it, whatever. I'm not here to tell people what to do or tell people what I think or whatever. I'm just saying that's kind of the background I grew up with. So when I see from Jews, even though people wouldn't look at me and know or think in any way that I care about any of this stuff, but I do, I care about studying Talmud and all kinds of stuff. There's stuff that I just really enjoy that I'm not Jewish, but it's just part of my culture in a way, even though I'm not a Jewish person. If you see me on the street, nobody's going to be like, oh, you're wearing a yarmulke or anything like that. I'm not, but there are a lot of things that I just have grown to love and understand about Judaism. And so a lot of my first crushes were, Jewish guys. I did find them appealing because they were religious, and they were different from the mainstream culture. There was a lot of stuff in, mainstream culture, masculinity, that I didn't really appreciate, maybe. I did kind of the same thing that I kind of grew to about Muslim, a lot of Muslim guys, was just kind of the kind of openness, emotional openness and sensitivity. I'm not saying that cis American guys aren't that way, cis non-religious Americans aren't that way, because a lot of them are too, but just from what I saw, what I saw around me were mostly the guys in my denomination of Christianity that were not that way. So I did kind of have crushes on cis straight men at a certain point. But I don't know if it was ever a sexual thing. But it was more I could see myself wanting to go out on dates with certain sensitive guys. And I mean, I've dated guys that weren't straight, that were either trans guys or non-binary people, or bi guys, cis bi guys. So that's kind of what I've kind of come to enjoy and it's more the sensitivity. But also I don't know, I didn't even get through my whole story yet. I just really went on a tangent. But so that was Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so Saturday, before I left, my mom started making those comments about me, and oh, if you go to, because my dad invited me to come to Zimbabwe in August, and I was like, well, I didn't know I was invited, so I wasn't gonna go. And then he said that I'm invited, so I'm gonna try to go. And then my mom started making those comments about my auntie setting I slept with some guys, and I just kind of was like, well, I don't even know if I'll be single in August. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I never really know what's going on. And so I made that like a super awkward moment between me and my parents when I was saying goodbye, because they don't even like talking about that kind of stuff, about dating or whatever. And I'm always kind of like, well, who's to say I'm not dating somebody? Like, I clearly am going on dates. Like, I'm not like dating like in a relationship like that, but I mean, there are people that I go out on dates with pretty routinely, but we're not like in a committed like relationship. Like, I think we have an understanding and a trust, and we can talk openly about a lot of things, but we're not we're not like, I don't know, we're not a couple. I wouldn't put it that way. But yeah, this person I've been spending time with, I really like this person a lot. And then, you know, my interest was kind of piqued again up in LA. I was kind of feeling somebody a little bit. But I am glad to be going back up to LA more often, because it's kind of nice meeting people up there. I don't know. I really kind of I don't know. It's hard for me to really be open with my folks about like what I do on my spare time. Especially because they're so jokey. Like, my mom's so jokey, and like, they're not really serious about anything, and they're really uncomfortable about like everything. So I just leave them out of it. It's just easier, kind of. It's almost like easier to leave them out of the loop and let them make ignorant comments than I think it would be if I was like completely 110% open with them about things, and then still having them like not know how to like do things right. I kind of don't trust that they would be able to understand things, or even have an open conversation about it without throwing in religion or tradition or culture and all sorts of stuff that is just like they are to some extent kind of prejudiced. I mean, I have plenty of gay friends that are even church-going gay friends, and they never once commented saying like anything like, oh, they're going to hell or whatever. Like, they're never like that. They're more so like, they've said things like they're too young to really know how they feel. And then they've said things like for one of my friends who's trans, about how hard it is for them to kind of get the pronouns right. And, you know, my dad just straight out calls them by, you know, the name that they were born with, and my mom doesn't get the gender pronouns right all the time. I think they're just totally not comfortable with it. And I know it's a generational thing, maybe cultural thing, traditional thing. Like, it's a lot of different reasons, because they don't really spend their time immersing in the culture at all. They just kind of think, okay, this is hard. I can't really switch my thinking or like figure out what's going on. They don't really seem to understand the culture at all. But then again, they know that I go to like however many prides in a year. You know, I run around rocking like rainbows and stuff all over inside my car, and like, you know, I have a very mask presenting style of clothing, androgynous to mask kind of range of clothing. with, other than like the colors and shades of and patterns of things that I might choose to wear. It's not, none of it is very femme. And so then I have this wedding to go to in August where I know that I'm gonna need to wear dresses, and they're like, there's gonna be 3 weddings. So I'm like, shit, 3 weddings, that means I have to do this like 3 times. And the weddings aren't usually like one day, it's like 3 days. They might do dress rehearsals, all kinds of things. So I'm like, man, I don't want to like deal with all this. It's just so anxiety provoking. And what I liked about the episode of We're Having Gay Sex is when Kate Sisk was talking about how much anxiety comes with, you know, certain events. I mean, I talked about it before when I had to go to one of my friend's weddings. It was a trans friend marrying the lesbian girlfriend, and there wasn't even really a dress code. It was like 50s style, so people dressed like greasers or whatever. And you know, I kind of just wore Chucks. I think I wore Chucks and a button-down, short-sleeve button-down, and some fitted chinos. And I think that's all I really wore. And so, I don't really know, guys. But that was my choice of clothing. And did it work well for me? It did. And I felt comfortable. I did kind of feel some eyes on me a little bit. A couple people looking at me that I knew. This was years ago now. And then so yeah, this is my dilemma at the moment, is about what to wear in August. And mind you, August is nowhere near. I mean, it's April still, so it's like the 4 more months away, 3-4 more months away, because the 8th month, we're only in the 4th month, and I'm already stressing about this. So there's that kind of stuff. And I feel pretty comfortable if I can maybe bring a change of clothing. I mean, the only weddings I really dressed up for were like family weddings. And I don't know. I know my parents have a certain level of embarrassment. I know my mom in particular kind of made a point to, you know, make sure my dad didn't feel embarrassed by my clothing. And I know that he felt uncomfortable with it, which is why he recruited my mom to make sure that I was wearing what they needed me to wear for that wedding in Georgia. It was in like 2018, 2019. I know that for a fact, just because of how much she was like being the way she was being. Like, she had me send her pictures of something that I already bought when I was in San Diego, and she thought it wasn't nice enough, so she purchased something for me, just in case what I brought wasn't good enough. And then when I wore what I was gonna wear, she was like, oh, well, this isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't really like that. And then people kind of like coming over, like fussing over my hair and like touching my clothes and just kind of like adjusting things. And it's just like, oh my God, like they treat me like I'm like 5. It's like, dude, I'm in my 30s, mind you. So it's like, and there's only so much that you can really get mad at a person, where it's just like, how do you not get this? You know, it's like, it's kind of weird because it's like, it can be somebody who's literally your parent, who it's like, you think you get me more than anybody else on the face of the planet. And then there's certain people that I know that either I can date them, or like the friend that I knew that was just kind of like, I don't even know what team you bat for. Like, he even kind of picked up on it, even though I never really have openly discussed this stuff with him. But I'll tell him when we go to Mammoth. I just haven't had time to sit down one-on-one alone with him. I mean, I've told other friends that I've gone to prides, and I've, everybody I date, I mean, they know, because most of them are meeting me on like an app where it's like everybody's gay, so most people know. But it's just really frustrating, honestly, to have like a parent, well, two parents that just are so oblivious, and like, I think they want to stay blinded to it. They just can't really handle they can't handle the truth of it all. I think it means a lot of loss to them. I mean, I'm still their daughter, which is, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being trans or non-binary. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, I'm the same person. They've never seen me like dating guys or anything, so it's not like if I brought home a woman, they would be like, where's the guy? Like, there were no guys really that they knew about that I went out with, and like, I never introduced them to any men or anything like that. And so it's not like they are gonna have to like get used to me not dating men. It's like, I mean, I've gone out on dates with guys and stuff, but it's like, and I've dated guys, but it's not like they would have to get used to that. Like, they never saw me dating anybody. And mind you, again, I'm in my 30s. They don't think that that's weird. Like, as social as I am, like, you guys even know from this podcast, like, the second I was able to kind of get out and about more, I've hardly even been in town for most of the month of April. Like, I'm just kind of enjoying, the weather and getting out and going to different places, because I got a little restless and was getting super burned out. And I've just been trying to wrap my head around all of this for a while. Like, it's a little bit uncomfortable for me. I'm noticing. I find it like a little on the uncomfortable end for myself to have like maybe like not a lot of support. And my brother and sister, I think they know what's up, Most of my close-knit group of friends, they know what's up. Even the ones who I'm not like fully out with, which are mostly the church related people, because I hate that the church is so gossipy, so I just don't tell anybody anything, because you tell one person one thing and then they mention it to their parent tells another parent, everybody's parents are talking about things to other parents, and then it's like, and then they're talking to their kids and stuff. Like, there's just really a gossip culture that I don't really want to be a part of. But alright, pedestrians. But yeah, I just feel like it's a challenge, and I'm trying to find a way to be out of my anger about these things. Like, I'm really working on my anger levels and stress levels and what I let anger and stress me out, because I do know that a lot of times it's a choice, and I do spend a lot of time making the choice to be irritated about things. I've been incorporating CBD into my life, in an interesting way that kind of helps me disconnect from certain experiences, like disconnect from certain automatic experiences. And something I'm noticing is that I can be pretty disconnected from experiences of I can be pretty disconnected from experiences where I'm like angry and irritated and just anxious. Usually, I do find myself worrying a lot about what's going to come up in the future, what's going to happen next. I'm uncomfortable because I think I know what's going to happen, and I don't like what I'm thinking is going to happen. And it can be with anything coming up, social situations in particular. And I think that was one of the more recent recordings I made was about my experiences with social anxiety. I noticed myself kind of thinking often about, what are we going to say? How's my energy going to be? Am I going to feel depressed? Am I going to seem depressed? Am I going to be too checked out? If I'm drinking or smoking, is that going to make it so that I don't get to access my emotions the way I want to? Am I going to feel too hyper and be like out of my, sensitivity? Or am I going to be like overly sensitive and like really shy and reserved? Like, how am I going to be even feeling? So that's kind of my experience. With things that come up socially. And I just hope, that overall a lot of this stuff can get figured out. I'm really, grateful to know and have people in my life that I care about as much as I do, that care about me as much as they do. No one's going to completely understand anybody else, but it's like, I feel like there's a lot that I have to work on my own, that if I don't like fully work on it, there's a lot I'm gonna have to work on. So if I don't fully work on it, it's going to be hard for me to, deal with things, the different coming out stages that are coming up next for me, I guess I would say. I'm trying to work through a lot of it, so you guys get to be there with me for the majority of that process, at least with the recaps and the processing of everything. I've been into this John Deloney book, finished it. Own Your Past, Change Your Future, very good book. But I didn't really know what I wanted to start in with therapy, and I'm thinking, a lot of this gender related stuff is coming up, so that's kind of what's coming up more naturally right now. I kind of was wanting to talk about my motivation at work and stuff, and it isn't even that I'm not motivated at work, but I do find myself distracted to the point of exhaustion during work, and I can't focus because there's a lot of this other stuff in the background that I need to process. And I do notice when I take breaks at work sometimes, I'll be sitting in the car and I'm just like, okay, I just turn on the mic and do an audio journal. And that's when I realized, like, oh shoot, all this is like deep in my mind. And even doing that recording for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, just kind of unloading my mind in that manner really does help me. So I'm gonna definitely keep on journaling and writing, and especially on these kind of topics, because it's like just when I think I'm done with something, it comes back again. So all right, so it's a good 90 minutes. Let me stop there. But for now, thanks for listening, guys.